All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into this article.
Okay.
It's called 15 Scientific Quran Miracles That Will Blow Your Mind.
Hmm.
And it's from Hafizan Academy,
Oh, wow.
which is this online Quran teaching academy.
Interesting.
You know, it's really interesting, this whole
Mhm.
idea of finding these scientific miracles
Right.
in the Quran,
Yeah.
like all these different phenomena that are described
Yeah.
that seem to kind of line up with what modern science is telling us.
Yeah.
And
It always gets people talking.
it really does.
For sure.
It's such a fascinating thing to think about.
Yeah.
You know, how could a text from the 7th century
Right.
possibly align with,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
scientific discoveries that were made centuries later?
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that this article is specifically geared towards Muslim students in the West
Oh, good.
who, often find themselves kind of grappling with, how to reconcile their faith with, modern science and a scientific worldview.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of geared towards that audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's unpack some of these
Yeah.
these miracles or these
Mhm.
scientific findings.
Sure.
The first one that the article highlights
Okay.
is this idea that Allah created every living thing from water.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we all know,
Mhm.
how important water is to life.
Right.
But was that really common knowledge back then?
That's a really good question.
1,400 years ago.
And that's really kind of at the heart of, this whole debate.
Yeah.
I mean, people back then obviously understood that water was important,
Mhm.
but their scientific understanding of, the
Right.
properties of water and how it interacts with living organisms wouldn't have been as advanced as ours is today.
Of course. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Our cells, the very building blocks of life,
Right.
are composed largely of water.
Yeah.
Every single biological process that happens within our bodies relies on water. So,
Yeah. So it's really interesting that
yeah,
the Quran highlights this central role of water.
it really is.
And it just makes you wonder
Yeah.
what other insights might be kind of hidden
Yeah.
within these verses.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so speaking of kind of remarkable creatures,
Okay.
let's move on to ants.
Ants.
I have to admit, when I first read the Quran verse
Okay.
about Solomon and the ant colony, it felt a little bit like a fable to me.
I can understand why you would say that. Yeah.
It just kind of had that
Fascinating.
feel to it. But
But here's where it gets really interesting.
okay.
Modern research on ant behavior has revealed some truly mind-blowing facts about ants.
Okay.
Like what? Did you know, for instance, that ants not only bury their dead,
Oh, wow.
but they have these incredibly complex social structures?
Really?
I mean, we're talking specialized roles.
Yep.
They got managers, workers,
Wow.
soldiers, and get this, they have markets.
Wait, they have
Right.
markets?
Actual designated areas where they exchange goods,
That's incredible.
like food and building materials.
Wow. Ants have markets. That just seems
It's crazy, right?
unreal.
It really challenges our assumptions about animal intelligence.
It really does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows that, even tiny creatures like ants are capable of this incredibly sophisticated behavior
Yeah.
far beyond what we might have imagined centuries ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from the bustling marketplaces of the ant world
Uh-huh.
to the delicate realm of spider webs.
Okay.
The Quran describes the spider's house as the most fragile of houses.
Interesting.
So is that scientifically accurate?
Well, from a scientific perspective, yes.
Okay.
A spider web, while intricate and beautiful, is incredibly delicate.
Right.
I mean, those fine threads, they offer very little protection from the elements or from predators.
Sure.
The Quran's focus on the web's fragility rather than the spider itself, I think, is quite insightful.
Yeah, and there's that extra detail in the Quran that specifically mentions the female spider's role
Oh, wow.
in building the web.
That's fascinating because, as we know, in most spider species,
Right.
it's the females who are the architects and weavers of those intricate webs.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this concept of duality
Okay.
that the Quran emphasizes.
Mhm.
This idea that everything was created in pairs.
Right.
Now it's not just about male and female.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. It goes deeper than that.
Okay.
It encompasses this broader principle of opposites,
Uh-huh.
life and death,
But
sky and earth light and darkness, happiness and sadness.
I see.
The Quran seems to be suggesting that existence itself is built upon this balance of opposing forces.
It's a very thought-provoking concept.
Yeah.
What other pairs might exist out there in the universe that we haven't even discovered yet,
Who knows?
right?
Right?
Okay, next up
Yeah.
is a verse that paints a very vivid picture.
Okay.
It talks about this darkness in the depths of the ocean. So profound that one can barely see their hand.
Wow.
So how does this align with, like, what we know?
Well, this description aligns remarkably well with what modern oceanography has revealed.
Okay.
You know, as you descend into the ocean depths, light is gradually absorbed and scattered until eventually you reach a point where there's virtually no light penetration,
Wow.
resulting in complete darkness.
So it's like total darkness.
It's pitch black down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the Quran captures that sense of just absolute darkness.
Yeah.
You know, centuries before we had the technology to explore the ocean depths ourselves.
Right.
Okay, this next one is particularly intriguing.
Okay.
The Quran subtly hints at the male's role in determining the sex of a fetus.
Interesting.
So this is a point that for centuries was actually misunderstood. Right? For the longest time, the prevailing belief was that it was the mother who determined the sex of the child.
Yeah.
But modern science has shown definitively that.
It's actually the X and Y chromosomes.
Yeah. Carried by the sperm that determined the sex of the fetus.
So the Quran was kind of ahead of its time on this one?
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
It was pointing towards a scientific fact that wouldn't be confirmed for centuries.
It's a reminder that knowledge and understanding are always evolving,
Absolutely.
and that sometimes these ancient texts contain insights that only become clear through the lens of, like, scientific advancements.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, what's next?
let's dive into another intriguing verse.
Like.
The Quran describes a barrier separating two bodies of water. What's that all about?
So this aligns with the concept of oceanographic fronts,
Okay.
which are basically zones where different water masses meet, but they maintain distinct properties,
Okay.
like salinity and temperature.
So there's not like a physical barrier?
It's not a physical barrier like a wall,
Okay.
but it's more of a zone
Gotcha.
where these distinct water masses with their different characteristics don't fully mix.
So they kind of like maintain their own separate. Exactly. They kind of stay separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to think that the Quran could describe such a phenomenon,
It is pretty.
you know, centuries before modern oceanography.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, let's shift our focus to the vastness of the universe.
Okay.
The Quran describes the sky as initially being smoke before its formation.
Interesting.
So how does this tie into what we know about?
Well, this description intriguingly connects to the Big Bang Theory,
Okay.
which is, you know, the prevailing model for the universe's origin. According to this theory, the early universe was in an incredibly hot and dense state.
Right.
It was basically this chaotic soup of particles and energy that could be likened to smoke.
I see.
Yeah.
And we know that Professor Yoshihide Kozai,
Oh, yeah.
who was this prominent astronomer, was fascinated
He was very fascinated by that verse.
by this particular verse
Yeah.
and how it aligns with this scientific understanding of the early universe.
Yeah, it's a really interesting connection.
Moving from the vastness of the universe to the intricacies of human development,
Okay.
the Quran details the creation of a human from a mingled liquid.
Okay.
So how does this align with what we know about, like...
Well, this aligns with the process of fertilization and early embryonic development.
Okay.
You know, the sperm and egg, both fluids,
Right.
combine to form the zygote,
Uh-huh.
which marks the beginning of a new life.
And what's even more remarkable is that another verse actually describes specific stages of fetal development
Oh, wow.
using this remarkably precise language.
That's fascinating.
All right, let's talk about a discovery that revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos,
Okay.
the expanding universe.
Right.
The Quran explicitly states that Allah is expanding it.
Wow.
Now remember, this was revealed over 1,400 years ago,
Yeah, that's long before we had any telescopes or any way to observe it.
long before the advent of modern astronomy.
Exactly.
And it wasn't until the 20th century that astronomers made this groundbreaking observation that the universe is in fact expanding.
Right.
Galaxies are moving away from each other at an accelerating rate.
And that was a huge discovery.
It was.
Yeah, it really changed our whole understanding of the universe.
It's incredible to think that the Quran alluded to this concept
Yeah.
long before we had the scientific tools to observe and confirm it.
And, you know, even Stephen Hawking,
Oh, wow.
one of the greatest scientific minds of our time,
Yeah.
acknowledged the discovery of the expanding universe as one of the most significant intellectual revolutions of the 20th century.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn our attention back to Earth
Oh, yeah.
and these majestic features that shape our landscapes. Mountains.
Mountains, yeah.
The Quran describes mountains as pegs driven into the earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that imagery.
It's a powerful image,
Yeah.
but I never really thought about the actual science behind it.
Well, what's remarkable is that this description aligns perfectly with the geological function of mountains.
Okay.
They act as stabilizers, anchoring the Earth's crust
Right.
and preventing excessive movement of the tectonic plates.
So they're like the Earth's built-in shock absorbers,
exactly.
helping to prevent earthquakes.
Yeah, and other seismic events.
Okay, this next one always makes me wonder.
Okay.
The Quran asks,
Yeah.
have you not seen the birds held aloft in the sky?
Mhm.
It seems like such a simple question,
Yeah.
but it points to this phenomenon that has fascinated humans for centuries.
Right.
Bird flight.
It's a question that invites us to marvel at the intricacies of the natural world
Yeah.
and the forces that govern it.
How do they stay up there?
Right.
What keeps them soaring through the air
Yeah.
with such grace and precision?
Today, we have a much better understanding of the mechanics of bird flight.
Sure.
You know, the aerodynamics, the wing structure,
Hmm.
the intricate interplay of muscles and feathers.
But there's still something magical about watching them,
Absolutely.
wouldn't you say?
There is.
Yeah.
And what's particularly remarkable is the phenomenon of bird migration.
Oh, yes.
You know, the fact that birds can travel thousands of miles, sometimes across entire continents,
Right.
and arrive at their destination with incredible accuracy.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is.
It really is.
Scientists have discovered that birds possess this innate migratory program.
Okay.
It's encoded in their genes,
Wow.
like an internal GPS
Yeah.
that guides them on these epic journeys.
So there's like a scientific explanation,
There is.
but it still feels like a miracle.
I know, it's amazing.
It really is.
It is.
It makes you appreciate the incredible diversity and wonder of the natural world.
For sure.
Well, we've covered quite a few examples from the article,
We have.
and I have to say it's been a pretty amazing journey so far.
It has been fascinating.
What are your thoughts so far?
I mean, it's remarkable how these verses from the Quran seem to align with modern scientific discoveries.
Yeah.
Whether you view them as evidence of divine inspiration or simply as intriguing coincidences.
Yeah.
They certainly prompt us to think more deeply about the relationship between faith and science.
Yeah, and I think for our Muslim student listeners out there, especially those who are navigating the complexities of faith and modernity
Right.
in the West,
Yeah.
these connections could be incredibly empowering.
Absolutely. It provides a framework for understanding the world through both a scientific and a spiritual lens.
Yeah.
You know, recognizing the harmony and interconnectedness of both perspectives.
And for those who are eager to learn more of the Quran and its teachings,
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking out Hafizan Academy.
Yeah, they have a great online platform.
They do.
It offers a convenient and flexible way to delve deeper into the Quran.
And their courses are designed specifically for Muslim students
Yes.
living in the West.
Exactly.
What's great is they offer a free trial,
That's awesome.
so you can kind of explore their platform,
See if it's the right fit for you.
see if it's right for you.
Yeah.
You can check out their interactive lessons, get personalized feedback from their qualified teachers,
Right.
and they even focus on tajweed,
Yes.
which is the art of reciting the Quran correctly
It's important.
alongside understanding the meaning.
It is.
It's a holistic approach.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic resource.
It is.
For anyone looking to kind of connect with the Quran on a deeper level
Yeah,
and explore its timeless wisdom in a modern context.
absolutely.
You can find them at hafizon.com.
Easy to remember.
That's HAFIZON.com.
Perfect.
Okay, now that we've piqued your curiosity about Hafizon Academy, let's continue our exploration of these fascinating scientific parallels
I'm ready.
in the Quran.
Let's do it.
There's still so much more to uncover.
Yeah, there is a lot more.
The article delves into even more examples, each one offering a unique glimpse into this intersection of faith and scientific understanding. For sure. I'm excited to see what else they have. Okay, so picking up where we left off, I think it's worth revisiting this whole concept of the expanding universe.
Okay.
You know, to really grasp the significance of the Quran mentioning this,
Yeah.
we need to understand the prevailing cosmological views at the time of its revelation.
So, like, what were people thinking back then?
Yeah. Back then, the dominant idea was a static, unchanging universe.
Oh, wow.
So to say that Allah is expanding the universe
Right.
was a pretty radical concept.
Yeah, for the 7th century, that's...
Absolutely. It challenged the established understanding of the cosmos.
Yeah.
And what's even more fascinating is how this verse influenced Islamic thought throughout history.
Okay.
You know, Muslim scholars contemplated the meaning of an expanding universe centuries before modern science confirmed it.
So it really sparked some scientific curiosity,
Exactly.
even way back then.
Yeah, it planted the seed of curiosity, and
Okay.
then fast forward to the 20th century. Edwin Hubble's observations of receding galaxies provided the first concrete evidence of the universe's expansion.
And that was huge.
It was a groundbreaking discovery.
Yeah.
It sent shockwaves through the scientific community.
And even figures like Stephen Hawking
Oh, yeah.
acknowledged it.
He acknowledged the profound implications of this discovery.
So this idea from the Quran
Yeah.
lines up with what's now like a cornerstone of modern cosmology.
It really highlights this convergence of ancient wisdom and modern scientific understanding.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
Okay, let's
What else we got?
delve into another intriguing example.
Sure.
The Quran's description of mountains as pegs driven into the earth.
Okay, yeah, I remember when we were talking about this before.
I remember reading that verse and thinking, wow, that's a really vivid image.
Yeah.
But I never really considered the science behind it.
It's easy to dismiss it as just a poetic metaphor,
Right.
but it turns out there's a solid geological basis for this description. Mountains play a crucial role in stabilizing the Earth's crust.
Uh-huh.
Think of them as giant anchors
Yeah.
that help to prevent seismic shifts
Yeah.
and keep the Earth's tectonic plates from moving too drastically.
So they're like the Earth's built-in shock absorbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, they also contribute to the Earth's balance during its rotation.
It's really remarkable.
It is.
Speaking of remarkable insights, the Quran also asks, have you not seen the birds held aloft in the sky?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite verses.
It's such a simple question,
It is.
but it points to this phenomenon
Right.
that's captivated humans for centuries.
Bird flight.
Bird flight.
Yeah, it's an invitation to marvel at the wonders of creation
Right.
and to ponder the forces that enable these creatures to soar through the air.
Yeah, with such grace and precision.
Exactly.
I know we touched upon bird migration before,
Yeah.
but I'd love to delve a little deeper
Sure.
into the science behind it.
Okay.
How do birds navigate those incredible journeys?
It's a question that has intrigued scientists for generations,
Yeah.
and we're still unraveling the mysteries of bird navigation.
Right.
We know they use a combination of celestial cues,
Uh-huh.
the Earth's magnetic field,
Okay.
and even visual landmarks to guide them.
It's like they have an internal compass and a map
In a way, yes.
imprinted in their brains.
It's an incredibly complex and sophisticated
It
system.
really is.
Imagine flying across continents,
Right.
navigating unfamiliar landscapes,
Yeah.
and arriving at your destination with pinpoint accuracy.
It's amazing.
It's a testament to the incredible capabilities of the natural world.
Okay, now for an example that always leaves me feeling a bit mind-boggled.
All right, let's hear it.
The Quran states that Allah is expanding the universe.
Okay.
Remember, this was revealed over 1,400 years ago,
Right, way before.
long before the advent of modern astronomy.
Exactly.
And what's truly remarkable is that in the 20th century,
Mm-hmm.
astronomers made one of the most groundbreaking discoveries in scientific history.
Oh, yeah.
The universe is indeed expanding.
It's amazing how that lines up.
Galaxies are moving away from each other
At an accelerating rate.
at an accelerating rate.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a profound discovery.
And this discovery completely revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos
Absolutely.
and cemented the Big Bang Theory
Right.
as the prevailing model for the universe's origin.
It really changed everything.
Yeah.
It really did.
And, you know, even figures like Stephen Hawking,
Yeah.
one of the most brilliant minds of our time,
Right?
described the discovery of the expanding universe as one of the greatest intellectual revolutions in human history.
Wow.
It's a really big deal.
It is a really big deal.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of scientific inquiry
Absolutely.
and how it constantly challenges and refines our understanding of the world around us.
It's an ongoing process.
It is.
Always learning, always discovering.
Okay, now,
What's next?
shifting our focus from the vastness of the universe
Okay.
to the intricacies of human development.
The Quran describes the creation of a human from a mingled liquid.
Interesting.
And this aligns perfectly with what we know about the process of fertilization and early embryonic development.
Precisely, the sperm and the egg.
Yeah.
Both fluids combine to form the zygote, which marks the beginning of a new human life.
And what I find particularly fascinating is that another verse describes specific stages of fetal development
Oh, wow.
using remarkably precise language.
That's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
The level of detail and accuracy in these descriptions has led some to argue that the Quran contains embryological knowledge that was far ahead of its time.
I can see why they would say that.
It's a topic that has sparked much discussion and debate among both scientific and religious communities.
It's a fascinating area of study.
Speaking of sparking debate,
Okay.
let's talk about a topic that has generated considerable controversy over the centuries:
All right, I'm intrigued.
the determination of child sex.
Oh.
For a long time, people attributed this to the mother.
Right, it was thought to be the woman's influence.
But the Quran subtly hints at the father's role,
Oh, wow.
which science later confirmed.
That's interesting.
It's a fascinating example of how scientific understanding evolves over time.
Right, our knowledge is constantly growing and changing.
It wasn't until the discovery of chromosomes
Yeah.
and the mechanisms of inheritance that we fully grasped the role of the father in determining the sex of a child.
And that was a major breakthrough in our understanding of genetics.
Okay, let's dive into another intriguing verse that often gets overlooked.
Right.
The description of a barrier separating two bodies of water.
Oh, yeah. What's the scientific explanation for that?
So this aligns with the concept of oceanographic fronts,
Okay.
which are zones where distinct water masses meet, but maintain separate properties due to differences in temperature, salinity, and density.
So it's not like a physical barrier like a wall.
So there's not a physical barrier like a wall. It's more of a zone where these different water masses don't fully mix.
So they kind of stay separate.
Precisely.
Interesting.
These fronts act as invisible barriers, preserving the unique characteristics of each water mass.
That's fascinating.
It's amazing to think that the Quran alluded to this phenomenon.
Yeah, centuries before modern oceanography.
Centuries before modern oceanography confirmed it.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is.
It highlights the Quran's keen observations of the natural world and its ability to convey complex concepts in a way that resonates with people across different eras.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about a verse
Okay.
that always captures my imagination.
All right, I like this.
The description of the sky is initially being smoke
Smoke.
before its formation.
Interesting.
So this description resonates with the Big Bang Theory,
Right.
the prevailing model for the universe's origin.
According to this theory, the early universe was a hot, dense state of matter and energy that could be likened to smoke.
And it's fascinating to think that Professor Yoshihide Kozai, a prominent astronomer, was deeply fascinated by this particular verse.
He was really drawn to that connection.
And its alignment with modern cosmology.
Yeah, it underscores the potential for dialogue and exploration between scientific and religious perspectives.
It's amazing.
Showcasing how ancient texts can inspire scientific inquiry and foster a deeper understanding of the universe we inhabit.
It's pretty incredible. You know, it's really mind-blowing to consider how a text revealed over 1,400 years ago could contain descriptions that align so well with modern scientific discoveries.
It really does make you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to the enduring power of observation and the human quest to understand the world around us, you know?
And for Muslim students in the West especially.
Yeah.
I think these connections could be incredibly meaningful.
I agree. It provides a way to kind of reconcile these two seemingly disparate realms, you know? Recognizing that there can be harmony between scientific understanding and spiritual belief.
It's like having two different lenses through which to view the world,
Exactly.
each offering a unique perspective that enriches the other.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And, you know, for those who are curious to delve deeper into the Quran and its teachings, resources like Hafizan Academy can be incredibly valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially for those who might be feeling a bit intimidated by the idea of studying the Quran.
Right. It can seem daunting.
Yeah.
But Hafizan Academy makes it accessible
They do.
and engaging. They offer this really supportive online learning environment.
And what's great is they have that free trial.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
So you can explore their platform risk-free.
Try before you buy.
Exactly.
You can check out their interactive lessons, see how they incorporate Tajweed instruction,
Right.
and just get a feel for their teaching style.
It's a great way to see if it's a good fit for you.
And they have courses specifically designed for Muslim students living in the West,
They do.
addressing the unique challenges and questions that they might face.
It's all about creating a space where Learning is enjoyable, accessible, and relevant to the lives of their students.
Exactly.
So if you're intrigued by what we've discussed today
Mm-hmm.
and want to learn more about the Quran and its many layers of meaning,
Yeah,
I highly recommend checking out Hafizan Academy.
definitely.
You can visit their website at hafizan.com.
That's easy to remember.
That's HAFIZON.com.
Perfect.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
exploring some pretty amazing examples of how the Quran's descriptions intersect with modern scientific understanding.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has.
I hope it sparked a sense of curiosity and wonder in our listeners.
I think it's a reminder that there's always more to learn and discover,
Absolutely.
both within ourselves and in the world around us.
That's a beautiful thought.
You know, the Quran encourages us to contemplate, to question, and to seek knowledge.
And in that spirit, I'd like to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay.
As you continue to explore the world,
Mm-hmm.
whether through the lens of science, spirituality, or simply through your own observations,
Yeah.
remember to approach it with an open mind and a sense of awe.
Good advice.
There's beauty and wonder to be found everywhere,
I agree.
often in the most unexpected places.
It's true. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and I hope our listeners will continue to explore these ideas and see where their own journeys of discovery take them.
I hope so too.
Thanks for listening.